that. I'm just going to take this one. Good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing today? Everybody good? Great. Today is the first organ recital in the 2022 organ recital series here at Avenue. I hope did everybody get a program as you came in this afternoon? I want to draw your attention to the back cover. I'm answering this question before you ask me. Do you notice whose name's not on there? Mine, yes. I am taking a break from playing organ recitals during Lent this year, working on stuff for my doctoral program. So that's taking a lot of my time with regards to writing and stuff, and so I'm opening the opportunity to other local organists to take up the 2 times that I typically do play. So just so you know, that's what's happening for the 2022 year. So local organist from Ned up in New Jersey,
Yep.
down to Michael, who is coming from Salisbury, and then several people from the Lewis-Rehoboth area, as well as several other local organists will be playing as well. So, as I say every year, I take this opportunity to reflect, to meditate, and to ponder the journey that we are on from Ash Wednesday through Easter. As you know, I am a musician in everything I do. I'm a musician here at the church. I teach choir at Polytech. And I do everything else I do is music related. So music is literally the air that I breathe. And so I love these opportunities that where we can just come, sit in this sacred space, in this quiet space, and just listen. Not only listen to God, but listen to music. And just to reflect, as I say, and to ponder what is happening and what is going on. And so as we begin, I ask you to do that this time as well. Think, pray, listen. We have a lot going on in our community of Milford, a lot going on here at Avenue, and there is a lot going on in the world today. And so think, pray, ask God to be with us. And I'm hoping we do that through the gift of music. And so today, my friend Ned traveled all the way from New Jersey down to join us. I first met Ned when he was the director of music and organist at Newark United Methodist Church. And he and I served on a committee for the Delaware chapter of the American Guild of Organists. And then Ned moved to a church in New Jersey. And so as we begin today, let's welcome Ned. And I know Ned will have a few things to say about the program and things that he'll be playing today. But once again, thank you, Ned, for coming and joining us here at Avenue for this Lenten season.
Well, good afternoon. I'll promise not to talk too much. A little note about the program. I always struggle coming up with titles for different sets of music. So you'll notice some of them are quirky. The first set is loud and soft. So we have a big toccata followed by a soft piece by Bach, which was used as funeral music. And then as we move on, then we have a fast piece and a slow piece. And then we move into the season of Lent. You'll start to hear songs that you actually know based on Lenten hymn tunes. And we go from Lent to Palm Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, and finally a trumpet tune will bring us into Easter Sunday. And as this goes on, I'll give little tidbits about the music. Some of the information may actually be true, but it'll be entertaining either way. And there's a little bit for everything. The hardest thing when you program Lenten recitals is you don't want to put people to sleep. So just when you are lulled off, there will probably be something loud to wake you up again. So I hope you enjoy this mix of Lenten organ music. So that was the first set of Loud and Soft. Sorry, trying to turn so I don't have to get off the bench. Pachelbel is known for a lot more things than just the canon. And so he has a complete set of organ works and choral works. And so that was one of his preludes. Well, I don't know if you've ever been to a Cher concert, but when Cher sings, a lot of people do things around her and she just stands there and looks fabulous. And so that's how Pachelbel writes his preludes and toccatas. There's always one part that just sits there while your hands are busy, or your hands do nothing while your feet are busy. And then when you get into later works like Buxtehude and Bach, then they all go at the same time. But if you like a flavor of that music and don't want to go completely bald from learning it, then you stick with Pachelbel, where either your hands or feet get a break. And then we had the Bach piece, which God's Time is Best. It's from a funeral cantata, and many of his pieces also worked as processional pieces, where they would have instrumentalists playing songs such as that on the way to the gravesite. Next we have a toccata by Pachelbel and a prelude by Lenglet. When we get into the French music, they had a lovely marketing scheme. And you buy pieces by Lenglet and Vierne, and it'll say for organ or harmonium. Because what did every parlor in France have in the 19th century and 18th century and early 20th century? It was a pump organ. And so that's a really brilliant marketing tool to get the music out there. So you could either hear it in the cathedral, or if grandma was pumping the bellows, you'd hear it in your parlor in the evening. So those are our next two pieces, Pachelbel and Lenglet. So I don't know if you could hear the color in that piece, but if you ever heard a pump organ, it has that nasally string quality, and that's what it uses on the organ for that piece. And it kind of just shifts through keys and lots of double sharps. With all French music, it starts off fun, and then you turn the page, and then it's a panic. So it's a fun piece to play. Next, we move into Lent, and we have a hymn tune, which you may or may not know, called 40 Days and 40 Nights. And the text goes, 40 days and 40 nights thou wast fasting in the wild, 40 days and 40 nights, tempted and yet undefiled. So for this Sunday in Lent 1, our reading is the temptation of Jesus by the devil in the desert. So this goes nicely with that opening theme of Lent. So if you ever watched The Crystal Cathedral with Robert Schuller, that was my influence growing up. So hymns like, settings like this really are nostalgic for me. And a little tidbit of that is the organ at Crystal Cathedral is now Christ Cathedral, and it's up and running. And they have refurbished the whole thing. So if you're ever out in California, give that a listen. You may notice that I have an iPad in front of me, and you may be thinking, how is he turning pages? Well, due to the miracle of technology and cameras, I do a twitch with my face, and then it turns the page. Now, the only trick with that is, if you hit a wrong note, you can't make a face. Because then you really get stuck in a loop. But it's just a really wonderful miracle of technology, and it lets you, control all the settings for your music, make the notes bigger, because for some reason they're getting smaller every year. I look at the music. So this is really wonderful. And the trick is making sure that you disconnect it from the internet so your friends don't text you during recitals, which just happened. So the next piece, we move into Palm Sunday. I first found this piece when we had a set of chimes donated to the organ at Newark UMC. And they came from the Presbyterian Church of Newark. No, the one with the graveyard. So not the Presbyterian Church of Newark, Christiana. And so the chimes went into the organ, and I wanted to find something that was actually exciting, because most chime music for organ is out of funeral books. And I'm like, well, there's got to be something more snappy than that. So this is called Triumphal Entry into Jerusalem, and there's a lot of fanfare. It goes between the chimes, which are in 7/8, so 7/8 notes per measure, and then there's a trumpet fanfare when you approach the city. And then as the crowds leave, it fades back off into the distance with one final trumpet blow. Next we have a chorale prelude on Nun bitten wir by Dietrich Buxtehude. We pray now to the Holy Spirit. And I know this is used a lot on Pentecost in various circles, but I also thought it would be fitting for Maundy Thursday with the prayer in the garden. And so, Buxtehude, Nun bitten wir. When I was in graduate school at Trinity Lutheran Seminary for their music program, we have organ master class, which is a big organ lesson with all your colleagues together while you get screamed at by a professor. No fear. And I brought this for class, and he listened and said, "Oh, all your trills are the wrong direction. We've discovered new data in research of Bach and Buxtehude and all that. So you need to change the direction of every single ornamentation in that piece." So to this day, I still have big markings in that piece because some trills start from the note above and some start from the note below. And it really depends on whatever research is popular that month. And so after changing it for class, I'm just leaving it now. Next we have What Wondrous Love Is This, arranged by Mark Hayes. It's a very interesting arrangement because Mark Hayes is a pianist. And I like his piano music, and I use it in our blended service at church all the time. And I'm like, well, I wonder what his organ stuff is like. And he uses a lot of interesting colors and harmonies. But as you're playing it, you're like, you know, I could really use a piano sustain pedal. So he doesn't care that you're an organist. He just wants it to sound pretty. So this is What Wondrous Love Is This, arranged by Mark Hayes. So our last piece for this afternoon is a festive trumpet tune by David German. And it uses, well, all the trumpets at some point. And I have a joke about it, but I will save that for the end. So enjoy the piece first before my humor. And so it starts off with one of the smaller trumpets of the organ with a chorus accompanying underneath, and then you'll go to a minor section that is all the reeds under expression. So if you know some stuff about the organ, there's reed stops and things back behind there, and when you close the pedal here, all that fire is caged up and rumbles behind the wall. And then in the end of the piece, it opens up, and we use the festival trumpet. Oh, I actually remembered, yes, the festival trumpet at the end of the piece. That brings us to the end, to our piece celebrating Easter. So we've gone through a whole journey of Lent and Holy Week to Easter. Now the joke on this piece, which I couldn't say before because it would ruin the mood. Have you ever seen the movie Spaceballs? Mel Brooks. It sounds like the theme song to a Mel Brooks movie. So once you hear it, you can't unhear it. So I'm happy to have ruined that for you for the future. I hope you enjoyed the program. There was a little bit, hopefully, for everyone, and a little bit of humor, too. So thank you so much for coming out, and it's so great to see people. This is my first recital since the beginning of the pandemic, and I have been on Zoom for most of that. I'm also the director of youth and family at my church, so I have middle school confirmation and high school youth group, and I'm finally getting to see faces again instead of just windows, so it's great to see people in person. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ned, and thank you to everyone for coming out this afternoon. We do continue this journey through Lent, through music, next Thursday at 12:30 with T.J. Thomas coming up from down at St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Lewis. So I hope you all join us. Invite your friends. We are also on Facebook and YouTube looking for Avenue United Methodist Church on both of those places, and you'll be able to find the video for the recitals that are happening throughout Lent. So thank you, Ned, and thank you all, and have a great week.